Y'all came back. Y'all really came back to see the 60s. Man, I appreciate y'all so damn much. I can't believe that y'all want to know what the 60s is looking like for the top 100 greatest cartoons. By the way, did I mention that I was your host, JLW, and thank you all so much for joining me? 69.
Lloyd, come on, man. Lloyd, have you finished cleaning your room yet?
Working on it, Mom.
Lloyd? I gave you a crater full of homework today, mister.
Run, Lloyd! Run for your life!
Hey! You ain't garbage!
Yes, superlative.
I was worried, Lloyd.
Oops.
My pal, my friend, my galactic international amigo, Lloyd in Space is coming in at number 69. Lloyd in Space. What do you remember about Lloyd in Space? What I remember is that it was about a green alien who lived in, I think it was like an intergalactic ship of some sort, right? Like, wasn't it a ship floating in space? And he had a friend that was a human, and they had another friend that was an alien, and it was about like their adventures in high school or middle school as an alien race. I think, right? I'm almost positive that's what this was about. I'm starting to see that a lot of these shows are just basically insert strange main character, whether it's an alien or a robot or a crime fighter in high school or middle school. Lloyd in Space is an American. You're right, it's an American. Americans, we got like 2 or 3 on this list. It's a great time to be American, except it's not a great time to be an American. It's a great time to be an American that's against the America that's being proclaimed to the rest of the world. You know what I'm talking about. It's an American animated television series created by Recess co-creators Joe Antolabeheri and Paul Germain. Recess, that's another good cartoon. Wonder where that's at. It premiered on February 3rd, 2001 on ABC on Saturday mornings. The pilot was written by We Don't Care. It ran for 4 seasons, airing its final episode on February 27th, 2004, making it firmly in the 2000s kids list. The premise is this. The series follows Lloyd Nebulon, a green-skinned alien of the Verdigrean race, living in the far future shortly after the end of World War IX. I don't know what that is, but you can tell me. Lloyd lives in the Intrepidville space station, like I said, along with his telekinetic and telepathic little sister Francine and his mother, Commander Nora Lee Nebulon, the head of the Intrepidville. A lot of these sound familiar. It's crazy. When you read the description, you go, oh, yeah, there was a character that was like that. What a really good show. That wasn't really much of a premise, except that he lives in a space station, like I said, and does normal alien teenage things, like I said. So that was Lloyd in Space coming in at number 69. I am firmly A-okay with that. Moving on to number 68. Although I love this entry coming in at number 68. And by the way, that is Ren and Stimpy. Ren and Stimpy coming in at number 68. Again, we have another entry that some individuals may go, I don't know if this counts for 2000s kids, only because it did, I think, premiere in the 90s. However, it was just like the show that I mentioned before, Bonkers, one of those that I think re-aired during the early 2000s, and so us 2000s kids happened to catch it on air. Though, looking back on the show, I don't think this was meant for kids, and that's the first thing I want to say is if you ever watched the Ren and Stimpy show as a kid, you laughed. You laughed a lot, but you never knew exactly why you were laughing. It was dangerous, and it was further than your normal cartoons, where, like, if you were to put the Buzz on Maggie and, let me give another one that we've already said on the list, Caillou on the same... If you had to compare them with the Ren and Stimpy show, which is a crazy comparison, you'd go, there's something about Ren and Stimpy that is just better than the regular cartoons that I'm watching. And you know what it was? It was that it was meant for adults. Half of the jokes on this show were meant for late teenagers, adulthood. Like, it was vulgar, it was sexual, it was innuendo. Anyway, what do I remember about Ren and Stimpy show? I remember it was about 2 dogs. I think they were dogs, and they would just go on these crazy adventures, but I just remember it being very, very vulgar, right? The official word is this. The Ren and Stimpy show, commonly referred to as simply Ren and Stimpy, is an American animated comedy television series because, of course, if you're going to have a vulgar show, it's going to be American because only Americans can do vulgar right. We can do a lot of things like protect... I'm not going to say it again, but you saw what Congress did with protecting the Epstein people. We can also be very, 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 very good about dragging our feet when a massive natural event occurs in a state one of the largest in its history. And instead of getting immediate resources down there, we have to get approval from the Homeland Secretary. I forgot. We are also really good about deflecting. So when I say, I don't know, for example, let me throw a random example out there. Hey, have you ever been to the island where they touch little kids? You say, Obama was responsible for losing my election in 2016. Did y'all know that? Or hell, even better, apparently we're really good at saying things like, if you were to visit Epstein Island, it is a privilege. Did you know that? It is a gift to have gotten to visit, at least according to our commander-in-chief, y'all's commander-in-chief, Donald. It's a gift. What was I saying about Ren Stimpy? Right. Series centers on Ren, voiced by We Don't Care, a hot-tempered, psychotic, asthma-bound chihuahua, and Stimpson, dim-witted, happy-go-lucky Manx cat. The duo fills various roles from episode to episode, including outer space explorers, Old West horse thieves, and nature show hosts. That was 68. Time for, you guessed it, 67. Oh boy. We got a few now. We were up to 3 now cartoons that could probably, arguably, be removed and substituted with another cartoon. Here's the thing. You ain't seen the full list yet. So let's make sure your cartoon has made the list. And then if it doesn't, you can be like, no, I want to count a veto. I want Bonkers or Ren and Stimpy or what comes in here at 67, which is The Little Mermaid, the television series. Removed from the list because my show should have made it, and it was an actual 2000 show, and the shows you listed were not. But again, it falls under the same thing of re-aired during the early 2000s on good Disney, so that's why it's on the list. What do we remember about The Little Mermaid? Well, hell, if you ain't seen The Little Mermaid, what are you doing? What do you shouldn't even be watching this right now. Clearly, you didn't watch cartoons, which makes no sense to me as a kid that grew up in the 2000s because all we did was go outside and watch cartoons. We ate, we shat, and we watched cartoons. Little Mermaid animated television series was produced by Walt Disney Television Animation based on the 1989 animated film. It features the adventures of Ariel as a mermaid prior to the events of the film. Their series is the third Disney television series to be spun off from a major animated film. Can you name the other 2? I'll give you time. Some of the voice actors of the film reprised their roles in the series, among them Jodie Benson as Ariel, Samuel E. Wright as Sebastian, Kenneth Mars as King Triton, Pat Carroll as Ursula. Other voice actors include Eden Gross as Flounder and Jeff Bennett as Prince Eric. This premiered in 1992, September 11th, 1992 to be exact, with an animated primetime special called A Whale of a Tale, then moved to Saturday mornings. This was like one of those cartoons that you see and you go like, this fits with a Saturday morning vibe, like one of those feel-good shows that if it came on in the morning, you knew that there was cereal waiting for you, the sun was shining, your friends were waiting for you. Like it wrapped itself around that early 2000s nostalgia. When you have the back end of a Disney original animated movie on your side, you're going to be a little bit higher. So that's why it firmly falls in at 67. Guess what time it is? No, it's not time for Congress to hide the Epstein list. It's time for us to move on to number 66.
Hakuna Matata. What a wonderful phrase.
Hakuna Matata. Ain't no passing craze.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
It means no worries for the rest of your days.
It's our problem-free philosophy. Hakuna Matata.
Honestly, we can probably call this entire 60s list the veto list. This is going to be, I see a lot of shows that people go, this is not 2000s. And all I can do is meekly reply, I don't care. It's early 2000s enough for me, and the fact that I remember watching it in the early 2000s because it re-aired a lot in the early 2000s. Now, coming in at number 66, you might have heard of this famous, infamous duo. It is Timon and Pumba, the show. Another show that was only on good Disney TV. Another show that if the theme song was playing, you knew it was going to be a good cereal morning. Didn't matter what cereal you had. Hopefully it was one of the good ones. Hopefully it wasn't something like Raisin Bran or something like that. It was similar to Little Mermaid. It's a show about Timon and Pumbaa, except let's focus in on just Timon and Pumbaa and not the little lion that comes along and messes everything up for them. Hakuna Matata. What we officially know about Timon and Pumbaa is that it's an American, because of course it is, animated buddy comedy television series produced by Walt Disney. It was based on Disney Animation's 1994 film The Lion King, centering on Timon the meerkat and Pumbaa the warthog as they continue to live by their problem-free philosophy of Hakuna Matata. Compared to most other The Lion King media, the tone of the series is more slapstick comedy oriented. Here's 65. So I want to be clear here in that I actually kind of almost made a mistake. Originally, I had listed Archie's Weird Mysteries as number 65, when in fact, I meant to put what you just saw, Martin Mystery, which was a show about a guy who reminded me a lot of a young Guy Fieri. Maybe this is Guy Fieri's early background story, but an individual with bright hair, bright clothing, and they went around and solved mysteries alongside their two friends. One was a girl with like red hair who looked like she belonged on Totally Spies, and another was like a big hulking guy. And another fun show with a fun intro, one that made you want to get up and go outside and have some fun. It's weird to me that I've gotten these two shows mixed up. In my head, I'm like, how the hell did I mix up Martin's Mysteries and Archie's Weird Mysteries outside of them both having the word mysteries when we know Archie is more storied, right? We even have a show called Riverdale on TV. Actually, I don't think it runs anymore, but we had a show in the 2010s called Riverdale because of this popularity of this comic series. And then a show that I don't actually know if it has a comic series, but was more niche. Not a lot of people, I feel like, watch the show. And admittedly, the show is a little bit high on this list. I'm not too worried about it because we're still in the bottom 50s. Martin Mystery is an animated television series based on the Italian comic book Martin Mystere. It is, of course, a comic book because we don't do anything original. The show is produced by Marathon Animation. We don't care. Like with the case of its sister show, Totally Spies. Hold up. I didn't know that. I really pulled like the girl looks like the girl from Totally Spies out of my butt. The series reimagines the comic book's main characters, Martin Mystery and Diana Lombard, as teenage step-siblings attending Torrington Academy, a boarding school located in the city of Sherbrooke, Quebec. They work for a secret organization known as the Center, which covertly protects the people of Earth from extraterrestrial and supernatural threats and investigates the unknown and the paranormal. If you haven't seen this show, I highly recommend you go back and fix that immediately. There are a lot of things that we can't control that are going on in this world right now. There's a ship that's flying in the sky right now. I don't know if it's a ship. Some say it's a comet. Some say it's a rock. Some say it's a ship. Something's flying towards the country, the universe, the world right now. And some people believe that it might be alien and hostile in nature. We can't do anything about that. What we can do, we can watch number 65 on the list because this is our list, Martin's Mysteries. Looking at you. Here is number 64.
Xiaolin Showdown.
There's no way anybody, not a single one of you, I do not believe there's anyone watching right now that has not seen this show. If you are, get off right now. This is one of those shows that, looking at our list, one of three maybe that had some really great fight scenes that weren't skewing towards the adult side of Dragon Ball Z, but weren't childish in nature as well, so much as like My Life as a Teenage Robot. It was right there in the middle where it was just enough to keep your 12 or 13-year-old mind engaged and go like, wow, these are actually pretty good fight scenes. Xiaolin Showdown, if you can't guess, is about a bunch of Shaolin monks who are of various ethnicities. I remember an Asian, maybe 2 Asians, and then 1 white, because there's always a white person somewhere. And they train at a temple to fight against evil, or protect the world from evil. In particular, there was a real bad guy who, I don't remember if he was like a tech bad guy or what he was, but they had to fight back against him, right? That seems like official. That feels pretty official to me. But you know what? We can double check it. We can check the official word, and that's what we're going to do next. Xiaolin Showdown is an American animated television series that aired on Kids WB and was created by Christy Hugh. Set in a world where martial arts battles and Eastern magic are commonplace, the series follows Ami, Raimundo, Kimiko, and Clay, 4 young Xiaolin warriors in training who, alongside their dragon companion Dojo, battle the Highland forces of evil, especially series antagonists Jack Spicer, Wu Ya, and Chase Young. And honestly, another one that I go, this belongs with 64. I don't have an argument for it. You can't argue it. This is where it belongs. This is where it's going to stay. Cemented, locked in, mafia style. Put them in a dumpster, put bricks in it, throw it overboard. 64 is what Xiaolin Showdown is. It is time for number 63.
Ozzy and Drix. Ozzy and Drix. Trouble in the air, what you gonna do?
Is it cold? Is it fever? Or maybe the flu?
Meet Ozzy and Drix, private eyes. Cut germs and viruses down to size. Busy defending all the nerve endings. They got guns and nerves, death and birds.
They're bad to the bone, even better in the bladder. Niggas seen in the swing with the hustle and the myself with the hip in the hips. The word on the lips, ideas in the brain. Keep it inside.
Keep it insane.
Like a myself should.
Like a myself should. Ozzy and Drix. Ozzy and Drix.
Inside the body and mind.
From the tip of the nose to the behind, they're the protectors of the city of Hector. Ozzy and Drix.
Every once in a while, us early 2000s kids were blessed in that we got a movie. We got a movie that came out during the time of us actually being alive, not a movie that our parents showed us or came out before we were even born, but came out when we were alive, and it was so good. It resonated so much with our youthful nature that they decided we need to make a television series out of it, and that is why at number 63, we got one of my favorite cartoons of all time, Ozzy and Drix. Love everything about the show. I love the concept. I love the voices. I love the style. Ozzy and Drix is one of those fun shows that put learning and made it cool and made it interesting, because the whole premise of Ozzy and Drix, as I remember it, was that there were 2 individuals. There was a white blood cell who helps to fight bacterial infections and all kinds of bad things that are going on in the body. That in the movie was played by Chris Rock, I believe, and even had the mannerisms and the kind of styling look of him, in that he was skinny and had a goatee. And then Drix, who was a pill, some kind of maybe a Tylenol PM or something like that, that was inserted into the body orally. I think orally, maybe not orally. It could have gone the other way. Bill Murray character being the human in the movie, it was inserted into him, and that was also to help fight, combat evil things inside the body. And so in the movie is one thing. The show, even better, because we get to dive into the daily lives of Ozzy, the white blood cell, who is a cop inside this body. I think the body is of a young boy. I think they changed it from an old man, which is Bill Murray in the movie, to a boy in the show. Ozzy and Drix is an American animated television series based on the 2001 film Osmosis Jones. It centers on Osmosis Jones, also known as Ozzy Jones, a cheeky, clappy white blood cell, and Drix, a level-headed cold pill who battles germs and viruses inside the body of a teenager named Hector Cruz. This series is set in a stylized version of the human body, which resembles a city where microorganisms and cells are anthropomorphic. A lot of us understand some of the ways that the body works and some of the things that affect us because of this show. Like I said, it was informative while being stylized. I want to watch this right now. It lasted for 2 seasons, 26 episodes, and I would watch every single one right now. 63 also feels good. There's not a show that we've named. We can put the Buzz on Maggie above this, huh? You can that high above Yamimi? You feel like it's better than Osmosis Jones? Tell me what you think that we've said already that you would put above this. I'll wait. No, I won't. We're moving on because it's now time for number 62.
His action-packed, turbocharged, ready to blast. Got a flaming head of hair and likes to live fast. His sisters like to use him for a wild experiment. Check out a day in the life of Johnny Test. He's got a super talking dog, he takes every place. He likes a cup of Joe and has a monkey face. His mom's also busy and his dad's obsessed. Sonic Boom, messy room, his name is Jesse. Super secret fence, extreme teens, moonsies, brain freezing heads. Monkey boys, triple toys, monster trucking tricks. Just another day in the life of a boy. Just another day in the life of a boy. Just another day in the life of a boy. Just another day in the life of a boy. Just another day in the life of a boy. Just another day in the life of a boy. Johnny.
Here's a show that individuals of Gen Z might argue belong to them. Even though it premiered in the early 2000s, they might try and steal this back. Now, I know I've made the argument that a show that had premiered in the 90s, early 90s for that, was still 2000s, and we took that. And now I'm making a counter argument that no, Gen Z can't take a show, even though it came out when they were born, and have it for themselves. Damn it, millennials we see something and we take it. That's just how it is. Johnny Test is your number 62. What do we remember about Johnny Test? I remember that Johnny Test was about a young boy who had brilliant sisters, twin sisters, and they used to have inventions and things that they wanted to try out. And their perfect test subject was our young, adventurous, bullheaded boy, Johnny. It's an animated television series created by Scott Fellows, originally produced in the United States by Warner Brothers Animation, and later produced in Canada. Premiered on Kids WB on September 17, 2005. I didn't know it premiered on WB. I always watched this on Cartoon Network. That's interesting. Premise is this: it had 6 seasons. Some of my favorite shows did not get that many. So, I mean, that tells you something. My taste may not be that great. Doesn't matter, though, because I'm putting together a list, and you've already stamped it, solidified it, because you're here, and you said this is stamped, solidified, and official. Crafty 11-year-old Johnny is part of the Test family, consisting of 13-year-old genius twin sisters Susan and Mary and his over-the-top parents. His mother Lila is a super busy businesswoman, and his father Hugh is an obsessive-compulsive house husband. Hugh's 2 biggest obsessions are cleaning and cooking meatloaf. Johnny is a mischievous and unpredictable boy who causes many problems, often reaching within the city. His best friend is his anthropomorphic talking pet dog, Dookie. Yes, just like it sounds, Dookie, who Susan and Mary gave human-level intelligence and the ability to speak in an experiment. We still have 61 to get to. 62 is Johnny Test. 61, let's get to it. Now, I know what you're thinking, Jay. There is no way. Jay, stop. There is no way in heck you were still putting up these elementary schools this high up on the list. I would counter that we're not that high up on the list. And if you were to do an accurate list that goes over what 2000s kids were watching, Little Bear has to be on the freaking list, and it can't be lower than the ones that we've already named. So Little Bear is your number 61. Little Bear is a show about a bear, similar to Franklin, that goes on adventures that are very childlike in nature. And if you watch the end, all the way to the end of the last episode, our 70s list, then you would have heard the theme song. So if you got it right, congratulations. If you got it wrong, I don't know why you're watching this list, because that was a very easy layup, and the one that's going to be after this is a little bit harder. So it's also known as Maurice Sendak's Little Bear. I don't know what is that, but somebody does. It's a Canadian children's animated television series co-produced by Nirvana Limited, produced in association with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. We don't care. What we need to know is that premiered on Nick Jr., which is what I remember watching it on when I was a kid and sick. On November 6, 1995, and the final episode aired on June 1st, 2001, solidifying it in the early 2000s list. The series also aired on CBS on Saturday mornings from September 16, 2000 until September 15th, 2001, further cementing it in the early 2000s list. Every 22-minute long episode of the series is divided into 3 7-minute segments. There are certain shows that just itch at that, like, all adorableness. This is one of those shows. Little Bear, I am 100% happy with putting you at number 61. Now it is officially the time for us to say goodbye to the list, but the only way to do that is to put up a cartoon that perfectly encapsulates the 60s. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Coming in at number 60, you might have heard me say it earlier when we were talking about Martin's Mysteries, is totally Spies. And the more I look at the girl in red, and the more I'm like, she must have, if she was not the same girl in Martin's Mysteries, she was copied off the same model. The Totally Spies, man, what a fun show. I think it had a fun intro. I don't remember it. You heard it. I didn't. It's one of those things that I look back and I go, I don't remember watching it religiously because it was marketed more towards women. However, when I did catch an episode, I would go, not bad. Clearly, I got respect for it because I put it higher than Little Bear. Think about that for a second. Little Bear, which I grew up even reading as a kid at the library, is below Totally Spies. I love that this show is 1, female forward, 2, bright colored action, 3, action oriented, 4, there is a I'm trying to see if I want to say the name of the cartoon. We'll say there's a Kim Possible vibe to it, except instead of one person, there's 3 individuals. Because as I remember, it was about 3 girls who were high school age, because that's the best time to put a show for kids, isn't the high school age. And they were spies, and they would go on these adventures, and they would do things that, you know, Ethan might do from the Mission Impossible series, except that they also had they added bonus of all their gadgets seem to be oriented towards, you know, female products. So, for example, they'd have a pocket mirror that also had a laser in it or something like that. Totally Spies is a French animated influenced anime spy-fi series created by Vincent Chavon Demerset and David Michael, mainly produced by French company Zodiac Kids. Totally Spies developed a cult following worldwide. Series also spawned a media franchise, several products tied to it. A spin-off series titled The Amazing Spies premiered in 2009 and ran for 2 seasons. The adventures of 3 teenage girls from Beverly Hills, California, Sam, Clover, and Alex, who live double lives as secret agents working for the World Organization of Human Protection, also known as WHOOP. The girls are recruited by the organization's leader, Jerry, no relation, to solve worsening crime conditions that arise across the globe. Watch it if you have little girls. Hell, watch it if you have little boys, because it's just like that. 7 seasons, you're doing something right, obviously. That is it, y'all. That is a 60s look at our top 100 greatest cartoons for 2000s kids. In case you need a reminder, here it is. Be quick, because I'm going to be quick. Number 69, Lloyd in Space. 68, Ren and Stimpy. 67, The Little Mermaid. 66, Timon and Pumba. 65, Martin's Mysteries that I got mixed up with Archie's Weird Mystery. 64, Xiaolin Showdown. 63, Ozzy and Drix. 62, Johnny Test. 61, Little Bear. 60, Totally Spies. You know what time it is? It's time for us to say goodbye, but don't worry, it won't be for long, because next week I'll be hitting y'all back with the 50s list, and that'll be the last of our bottoms. That'll be it before we move into the greats of the greats, right? These are all greats. But then at the top of the greats is the greats. So be excited for the 50s list, because I think that they come in swinging. These are ones that almost could have been in the top 50, but something knocked them out. Who knows what that is? I also want to go ahead and play a little snippet of what's going to be featured in the 50s list. Tell me if you got it. You know where to drop it. Anyway, I was Joe GLW. Look forward to seeing you in the next one.
There's 104 days of summer vacation, and school comes along just to end it. So the annual problem for our generation is finding a good way to spend it.